Hey YouTube, welcome back to Ray's Rides and welcome to the first bike review in my new series. So we're at BMW Wollaston Motorrad in Northampton and the team here have kindly lent me this bike, which is the F900 GS Adventure, and we've got it for the whole weekend. So if this review is of interest to you, grab yourself a cup of tea, stick around and let's hit the road. So, welcome aboard BMW's F900 GS Adventure. Before we start the review, I just wanted to say a massive thank you to Wollaston BMW in Northampton, who have kindly loaned me the bike for the weekend to do this review. I'm purely doing this for fun. I love riding bikes, it's my happy space, so I'm not affiliated to BMW Wollaston in any way. I'm not getting paid to do this. I'm putting my own petrol in, all that kind of stuff. I'm purely doing this to basically get some content on my YouTube channel. Obviously, as you know, I've just brought the new 1300 GS Adventure and they kindly let me film the unwrapping video. And I had this idea that on a monthly basis I could review the BMW bikes in the range, and Wollaston have kindly agreed to loan me a bike. I'll get it for the Sunday because obviously the dealership's shut and I'm not taking the bike away from any potential customers that want to test ride, and then I'll post this review on the channel and you can view it, and if it's something that you're interested in, what I will say is give Wollaston a try if you are thinking about buying a BMW motorcycle. If you pop in there, speak to a guy called Will, and let him know that you've watched the Ray's Rides review. Not that that's going to give you any discount off of a bike or anything like that, but what they will do is give you the best possible offer they can, and it lets the dealership know that them lending me the bikes is, you know, getting people potentially through the door. And the other reason I want to do this is it's supporting my local dealer. You know, we've had a bit of a turbulent year with motorcycle dealerships, and sadly some of them are closing down as well, so I'm trying to give my support to Wollaston BMW, and they're a top team down there. So yeah, if you're interested in a BMW bike, do pop in and see them and speak to Will. So I just popped home just to check my drone footage and just to see how the footage comes out from the main GoPro, because obviously I'm still new to this YouTube malarkey, but I'll get there. But what I have noticed is my main GoPro is on a chest harness, and apologies, it doesn't actually give a decent view of the road, but obviously you can see all the controls and things like that. So I need to explore some options for like a chin mount for my helmet or something. So if anybody has used one and it's tried and tested, do drop me a comment, because I'd really like to get one for my helmet. And yeah, this is the weekend before the Christmas weekend. So although this is my first review, because my aim is to, on a monthly basis, do a bike review of the BMW bikes that are in the range, it's going to be my last first review of 2024, if that makes sense. So we are just in the village of Ashton, just finding some nice little back roads to poodle around on this lovely December morning. And what do you get with an F900 GS Adventure? What's the specs of the bike? So you have an 895cc inline 4 twin engine, produces about 105 brake horsepower with 93 newton meters of torque. You've got the slightly larger tank on here than you have on the standard GS 900. This actually comes in at 23 litres with a theoretical range of 300-ish miles. I don't know about you, but there's no way I'm doing 300 miles in one go, but if your fuel stations on your travels are few and far between, it's comforting to know you've got a little bit of extra storage in the tank for those trips. And obviously with this bike you can tour, you can travel, you can do whatever you need to do, 1, 2 up, with or without luggage. It's going to do it all, and it's going to do it all in absolute comfort. I was watching some YouTube reviews from some of the more professional YouTubers, and I'm not there yet, but maybe one day I will be. But I was watching the one that Usernamekate did, and she called this bike the armchair of adventure bikes, and I can see why, because this seat is so comfortable. It really cossets you and wafts you along in comfort. So absolutely, I agree with you there, Kate. No worries at all. Anyway, back to the bike. This is the middleweight GS in the range. Obviously you've got the baby 310 GS, then you've got the 900s, and then obviously you've got the heavyweight 1300s. But this being the middleweight, it is a chain drive, it's not a shaft drive, so there will be some chain maintenance on there, although they do have that new M Endurance chain, which is supposed to be maintenance free, but I'd always clean and lube my chain anyway, being honest with you. Wheel sizes on this, it is the Adventure, so it is a little bit more off-road orientated, so it does have the 21-inch front wheel with the 17-inch rear. It sticks some knobblies on these, and you'd quite happily take it off-road or green laning. That being said, it is a 246 kilogram adventure bike, so how much off-roading you want to do is entirely up to you, but that's fully fueled. And the point to note on the weight is, because I'm used to my 1300, jumping on this yesterday when I picked it up, it felt like a little 125cc. It's so much lighter, and I think overall it's about 40 kilos lighter, which makes a huge difference. So yeah, to me this bike feels really light and flickable, and that's probably got something to do with the 21-inch front wheel as well. And there you have it. That is the basic specifications of the bike. I have just forgot about the seat height as well. I need to check, and I'll let you know on the screen now, but I think I've got a low seat on this because I'm 5'10", 5'11"-ish, and I can flat foot on the floor, both feet, and I know that this has got the same seat height as my 1300 GS at 870, I believe, and I can't flat foot on my GS. I'm kind of in between tippy toes and 3/4, but I can on this, so I'm assuming this has got the low seat option. But I suppose what I'm trying to say is, if you are of the shorter stature, then you know, don't discount any adventure bike just because they're tall, because you can get low seat options and low suspension options, and this GS Adventure certainly has those options in your configuration side of things. What I will say is, while I'm riding the bike, is the quick shifter on this is buttery smooth. It's fantastic both up and down the gearbox. Now what we'll do, using the magic of video editing, is hop to the BMW configurator page just to show you the various options on the bike. You've decided the F900 GS Adventure is the bike for you. What are you going to do next? Well, you're going to spec it up to exactly how you want it, and then go down to your local dealer and place your order. The best place to spec it all up is on the BMW Motorrad Build My Bike section, which you can see here. So I'm just going to go through the options of the bike that we've been test riding this weekend. But before I start, you'll notice on the 1300s there are several options. You've got the base model GS, you've then got the GS TE, and that's the one that most people tend to buy. It's got all the bells and whistles on it that you might want. And then obviously you've got the GS TE ASA, which is the effectively the automatic version, or the automated shift assist version. So you don't get any of those with the F900 GS Adventure. There is no TE version, and they certainly don't do at the moment. They don't do an automatic version of that. Whether or not they do that in the future, who knows, but you can't buy a TE version of that. What you have to do is add something called Ride Pro, which is effectively a TE version of the bike. So you have to go in to start with into that base model, and then we'll go through here, and it's not obvious, but when you click the plus button there to change the paint from the Blackstone metallic to the white aluminium. What it will do is tell you that if you wanted that colour, you need to add the Ride Pro mode at an additional cost of $2,340. So we'll go ahead and do that, and you can obviously see that your price has now just gone up to $14,690. If you don't like that colour, what you can do is now switch back to your Blackstorm metallic. It will keep the Ride Pro package on there, but you can spec it up with the black bike. But because we've been riding the white one at the weekend, we'll leave it at that. And then I'm just going to quickly go through the pages to show you what you get as part of that Ride Pro package. So we'll go through. Everything with a tick on the left-hand side has now been added to the bike. So you can see that there are additional options on top of that Ride Pro package that will, obviously bump your price up a little bit and give you the extras that you want on there. But you'll see that everything that's now got the tick on it comes with the bike. So you get your prep for the GPS device, you get your cruise control, you get your Gear Shift Assist Pro or the Quick Shifter, you get the keyless ride option. You get your riding modes Pro. What you don't get, which is a bit of a shame, is the tyre pressure or the TPMS system, just to let you know if your tyre pressures are too high or too low. That is an additional cost of £195 regardless. You then get this new M Endurance chain, which is supposedly maintenance free, and inside the O-rings it's sealed with some kind of oil or lubrication, which technically means you don't actually need to oil your chain. You'll get the center stand, and you'll get your dynamic ESA, you get your LED fog lights, and then finally you get your pannier fastenings left and right for the aluminium cases, and you've also got your grab rail on top there for the top box as well. It will take the BMW aluminium luggage. You then start going into all the options of soft and hard luggage and wind deflectors and tank bags and things like that. But regardless of what package you choose, all of these are additional cost items as well, and you would just add them effectively to your basket. And there you have it. That's how you configure your F900 GS Adventure. So what we're going to do now, we're going to hop on to the M1 and go down a junction just so that we can do a test of higher motorway speeds, and we'll see what this screen's like. There is 2 positions on there. I'll stick the cruise control on when we get on the motorway and show you the difference in wind protection that you get from the screen. But overall, so far from what I've ridden, it's actually very good. You've got quite a bit of bodywork up front that does do a really good job of keeping the wind off of your body, and obviously the screen's effective at directing the wind up over your head. But yeah, let's see what it's like on the M1, shall we? Okay, let's get ourselves up to national speed limit, which is 70 miles an hour here in the UK. There you go, stick the cruise control on. So although it may sound windy in the helmet with the microphone, it's actually the wind blast, it's pretty good. I'll pop the screen down. This is in its highest position. Now you can tell the difference, and I've got a lot more wind on my head and obviously getting a fair bit of buffeting, so having the screen down is not advisable if you're doing your motorway speeds. It would be more for off-roading. A couple of miles in between junctions to show you what it's like is pretty good. But yeah, the comfort on it, you could sit here all day, to be honest with you. There you have it. Ray's Rides motorway testing. Okay, we're going to head over to one of my little villages that's what I mentioned. It's got one of these little unclassified roads. We'll head down there and then we'll finish off the review. See you in a minute. There's actually a balmy 13 degrees today, which is very nice, but what I will say is heated grips paired with heated gloves are a no-brainer if you are going to be riding all year round. I mean, I've got these Kais 601s and they're on the lowest setting, so it should give me a good 6 hours worth of heat, and they're running off the batteries. But to be honest, I've been out a couple of hours, and usually this time of year I'll be getting cold fingers, but I've not even noticed my hands at all, and then when you think about them, they're very toasty and warm, so definitely worth investing in a good quality pair of heated gloves. I'm going to find myself a quiet spot and pull over, and obviously I've talked about the specifications, but I'll just talk about the features of the bike, what you do and what you don't get. So we'll park up in a moment and we'll go through it. Okay, so we've just pulled over. This is this unclassified road that I've ridden many times, so we're going to put the bike in enduro mode and go down there. But here she is. I just wanted to go over the sort of like the equipment that you get on the bike, and it's much easier to do this when you're stationary. So right, for starters, you get that fantastic BMW TFT screen, the 6.5-inch screen there, and we'll just turn that on there. You get that nice little graphic. But what I wanted to show you on here is the options that you get now. It is, well, I'm not going to say it's complicated, but there's a lot of menus in there, but once you get the hang of it, you can do it. But using your menu button and the mixture of the wheelie wheel there, you can access menus. And as I say, there's loads of stuff in here and stuff that I don't even know about, but the basics are, you've got your vehicle there, there's a navigation option, and obviously we haven't got a connected ride or a sat nav on the cradle there, but that will hook up to it, and obviously you can use the BMW connected ride app as well, so you don't have to buy a dedicated sat nav, you can just buy the smartphone cable in there. There's a media option. I mean, I don't know about you, but I don't like listening to music. It takes my concentration away from actually riding the bike. And then if you need to, there's a telephone option as well, and as I say, they all pair up to your phone via Bluetooth as well. But just going into here, I wanted to show you within here, within your vehicle, there's a nice graphic display there of what you've got: your engine temperature, your tyre pressures, your battery and your fuel range. But I've been riding around for a couple of hours today, and overall, it's actually gone because I've turned the engine off, but overall I was getting a rough 61 miles per gallon, which is pretty good actually, and that's thanks to that, that parallel twin engine. It's not a big gas guzzler. Anyway, so that's the screen. We'll just come back out of that. There we go. Okay, so on there you get your screen. On the bike itself, it comes as standard with the BMW ABS Pro on there. By default as standard, you only get the rain and road mode. Obviously this has got that Ride Pro pack that I was talking about in the configuration page earlier, so you can switch between road, dynamic and enduro and rain, and each one of those changes the settings of the bike and adjusts the rear suspension accordingly as well. So I'm going to pop it into enduro because I'm on this gravel road here. Heated grips, you actually get those as standard, which is really good, so I like that. Some of the manufacturers are they're optional extras, but on the 900 GS Adventure you get heated grips as standard. Obviously LED headlights, actually they're on because the ignition's on, LED headlights and the additional fog lights as well, which you can turn on and off manually. Obviously the windscreen there, which they class as the touring windscreen, and as I say, it does an effective job of keeping the wind off you in the high position, and then if you're doing gnarly off-road stuff you can lower it down, so you can get a better view of the road ahead. And I'm sure you can probably buy an aftermarket screen if you're going to spend most of your time touring at higher speeds. And then on here, which is a feature that I quite like, you've got a USB input. I think it's USB-A, but if your stuff is now USB-C, you can just buy a little adapter. But you've got USB there, and then you've also got the BMW DIN socket just under there, and again you can buy an adapter there that turns into a normal car cigarette lighter. But yeah, 2 power sockets up the front there, which is really good. You then also, on the GSA, let's come down here, you get your aluminium sump guard, which will keep the stones at bay from under the engine. And then obviously, well, most BMW bikes now, you get your hand protectors. So that's what you get pretty much as standard on the bike. And as I say, I've gone through the configuration settings for the electronic suspension on the back. And then, yeah, I did talk about earlier, the front is, regardless, it's manually adjustable there, just by their compression and preload, I believe. Okay, that's that. We're going to carry on up this road, pop out in the village, then we're going to get home, and as you can see, it's a little bit dirty, so yeah, sorry about that, Wollaston, but we'll I mean, it wasn't exactly clean when I picked it up, if I'm being honest, but yeah, I've certainly added to it, so we'll get it nice and clean for you. Don't need to stand up on the pegs around here, but it does help keep the weight on the pegs rather than the seat, and a little bit lower down. Plus it just makes you feel like you're having a proper adventure. There we go. Ooh. Really helpful having that quick shifter, actually, because you don't have to take your hands off the clutch that much. Although they do say when you're riding off-road you should always have 2 fingers on the clutch and covering the front brake as well, just to better your reaction times if you need to use it. But there you go. We're back into road mode. Now when you're changing the modes, what you have to do is take your hand off the throttle, and then it'll actually activate. So although you can select what you want, it won't actually go into that mode until you throttle off, if that makes sense. And as I say, I can never ride bikes to the full potential, and you can fine tune the suspension and everything as well. But with the road mode, what that also does is change your suspension. But you do have the option of manually changing your suspension, and I'll show you that in a second when we get around this corner. I'm not sure why you would. I'll just let the bike do it. I think the bike knows better than me, to be honest with you. But so what you can do is, we're in road mode, but you can go into your suspension setting just here, and you can change it from road. Oh, load adjustment only available when stopped. Okay, so you can't do it on the fly. I will still show you though when I can find a suitable place to stop. In here very quickly. Okay, so we'll stay in road mode, but we will go into the suspension settings and we will change it to dynamic. So you can see there, suspension's gone into dynamic. I can actually feel the back of the bike raising up, but we're still in road mode. And then obviously if you press and hold the suspension settings, you can see I've gone from rider to rider with luggage, and then 2 riders there, and I can feel the bike going up and up and up. I don't think there's a 2 riders with luggage. I think 2 riders is going to assume you've got luggage as well. There we go, so we're back to normal, and we will change the settings back to road for the suspension. But as I say, pressing your mode button and flicking between the 2 does all that automatically, which to me just seems a lot easier. Anyway, homeward bound. So the question is, Ray, would you have one of these bikes in your garage now? Well, I'm going to say no. However, the only reason I'm saying no is because I've got a 1300 GS Adventure, and the bikes are extremely similar. Obviously this one is a lot lighter. I'm actually going to say it's a lot comfier as well, to be honest with you, but it might be because my seat hasn't bedded in yet. I've only done 100 odd miles on it, but trust me when I say this will probably be one of the most comfiest bikes you've test ridden. But yeah, because of that, I wouldn't have one. However, without the 1300, I would snap one of these up straight away. It does everything you want and more on an adventure bike. So if that is your style of bike, definitely get yourself a test ride on one of these, and if you're local to Wollaston in Northampton, pop along there and as I say, speak to Will. Now, a bike that I would have in my garage alongside the 1300 GSA would be the Concept F450 GS that I'm really hoping BMW bring out sometime in 2025 or early 26, because that's the kind of bike that I would do a little bit more of the light off-road in green lane, and like you've just seen on this bike. So yeah, hurry up and build that BMW, because I definitely would have one of those alongside the 1300. Okay, we're just going to wet the bike down, making sure that the lance on the cartridge pressure washer isn't too high, and you'll want to avoid your switch gear on there. Then we're just going to give it a soak with snow foam, just snow foam that you'd use on the car. You can put it all over the bike, and then you just get yourself a bucket, get into all the nooks and crannies that the snow foam won't get into, making sure you get rid of all that dirt and grime and grease. Then we just rinse the bike down with the jet wash there. Already it's looking lovely and clean. And then the best thing that I use to dry it is a Brule motorcycle dryer. These are absolutely fantastic for getting all the water out of the nooks and crannies, especially if you're storing the bike for the winter. And yeah, that's it. That's how I wash my bikes. Okay, that's it for the review of the BMW F900 GS Adventure. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you give us a thumbs up, like and subscribe to the channel. And if you are interested in any BMW in the bike range, do pop down to Wollaston and speak to the team there. I'm sure they'll help you out as much as they can. And yeah, all that's left for me to say is I hope you have a lovely Christmas, because this will be the last video of 2024. We'll look forward to seeing you in the new year. Take care. Have a good one. Bye for now.